Hey folks, my name is Jürgen, aka Nerd and Proud of It, and Destiny has brought you to my channel today. Oh yes, it has. To have a look behind closed doors at PCG card grading in Germany. There are a few PCG offices around the world, and they pride themselves in having the same standards, so a consistent grading across the board. If you grade at PCG in the US with Rudy, or if you grade at PCG in Germany with Heiner, it shouldn't matter at all. I have graded a few of my cards there. I will show them in one of the next videos. But before that, I actually was able to have a look at the facility, and Heiner was kind enough to walk us through it. In my opinion, it's a very interesting video. I hope you'll enjoy it. And for now, let's see what Heiner has to say about the grading process.
Anyway, why don't you come in and I'll show you around in the grading area while we are attending a nice day together.
That's awesome. Let's do that.
Okay,
Yes.
so
you're going to show us around in the PCG grading area.
Correct,
And just as a disclaimer, if there's something in here we are not allowed to show, we're going to cut it out. So there might be cuts in this video, but that's fair.
Probably, yes.
Very curious about it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Right.
Let's see it.
So some background information. We are in the White Rabbit community game store in Aachen, which was opened 2 years ago. And when we opened the store here in Aachen, we were not yet planning to run a grading company. When that changed, we decided to separate part of the White Rabbit community game store as being the facilities of Premier Card Grading. And that is where you are right now. So at PCG, we are working on a station-based system and based on a two-person system. So it is not possible for one person to just grade a single card. There are always two people involved. And we are running 7 stations essentially. So station 1 is receiving, right? The most usual way we receive a card is by post. So we send.
I see there are some cards in there.
Right. Yeah, this is an example
Just an example, I thought so.
authenticating cards because this is very interesting for special sorcery cards. And as many of you
This looks like
will
magic.
know,
The red dot.
So
Oh.
this is a magic card, just a sample. And it's a new card even, but still the new card, just as the old card, has a green dot on the back.
And in the green dot, there should be the red dots, right?
Right. So here you see the yellow dot, and that also has red dots. But we are looking for the red dots in the green.
Yeah, I already see the L.
So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is one authenticity check mark for magic decks.
Yeah, very true.
Now there is more.
You can get that on camera a lot better than I can with my little microscope thing. That's very nice.
We are using high resolution microscopes. That is, that was easy for us to integrate because I come from metallurgy and I have an engineering background. So I've been working in research for 15 years. And this is something I brought over from my old job, is microscopy. This is a decent magnification. We can get closer, but then getting closer doesn't give us more information we need. And we are setting things up as we need them and not at what's possible. It wouldn't make sense to CT scan this card or do atom probe on it. So we have picked the right magnification to check for authenticity, right?
And you receive Magic the Gathering, but Sorcery and other TCGs here as well?
Yeah, right.
And you got your authentication process for all of them, a different one?
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah. It's required. So this is just an example for Magic because
did you do that yourself, or did you get official things from the companies? I mean, Magic, it's around for 30 years. There are some things you know, and some things you can check. But for example, with Sorcery, we all had to figure it out by ourselves.
I can't disclose all information about this, but I can say that we have authenticity ways and means for all relevant card games out there.
Okay, very good, very interesting.
Yeah. So for Magic, it's easy to show what we do with information which is publicly available, right? So for this green dot, if you Google green dot test and do the picture search on Google, for example, you will find a picture which addresses different characteristics and specifics of the printing pattern. And this is also something Hein talked about in his video. regarding sorcery cards. So it's basically the same topic. We are just a bit closer, right?
Yeah.
So for this card, for example, and this is not perfectly aligned, but it's working. So we have, for example, black dots, and the black dots follow a pattern. Now, on an original card, for example, the black dots are exactly in this alignment and orientation, thickness, contrast, everything is characteristic from all cards. Basically, this is a very new one, and then we have the old ones like beta cards. We have graded beta Black Lotus here already.
Nice.
And some older cards as well. And
What grade did it get?
It got a 6.
6. Well, I take a beta Black Lotus with a 6.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there's not just the 4 red dots. That's basically the message here. This is mostly checked, and it's easily checked, but there is more. There is the pattern of the black dots. There is on the black ring, there are 4 dots connected on the left side. The right side is formed like a straight line. And for example, there is 1, 2, 3 yellow dots in the green here. So we have huge amount of characteristics which need to be deducted first, and solidly so. And then we can apply this deducted information as a testing pattern for cards we receive here. Again, this is one example for Magic because it is public already as information, and for all other card games we have developed our own systems based on information either provided by the publisher or self-developed because they did not provide anything.
Very interesting. So what else do you got here?
Well, after receiving and authenticity, or rather during receiving, each card gets a barcode, and each order is put into its own box and stays in that box over all the stations, so nothing's mixed up, right? That's a prerequisite, actually. And after receiving and authentication, we go to the grading area. At this station, and also there are 2 screens over there, right? And the one was blank. So I could show you the right screen because it did show the result. The left screen shows how we do it. It shows the method. And that's what I can show. So this is the grading station. We start the grading process with centering. So for all criteria which are centering, edges, corners, and surface, we have guidelines. There is a standard catalog of things we can or can't see on a card, and depending on what we can or can't see, the grades are created for each card, right? Those standards are the same for all 6 PCG offices worldwide, which is the reason why you get pretty consistent gradings across the whole globe. For centering, we have produced an approach also based on a high-resolution microscope. And what is more common is the approach to just use a dial caliper to measure. But then again, coming from a different job, I found it was not perfectly suited in terms of repeatability and reproducibility. So why not apply microscopy here? And that is what we are doing here. We have a microscope attached to a monitor, and we are using a scale to check for measures for the borders on 8 positions on each card back and card front. And we pin it down to 0.5 of a millimeter.
Wow.
This also enables us to see if a card is angled or not, and this is very precise. Okay. So the card is positioned in a top loader.
By angled, you mean the centering, or you mean really
the printing?
The printing, okay.
Yeah, like you have front left, it's 3.2 millimeters, and bottom left you have 3.6 millimeters. So that's an angle. You want to have both values the same, right?
Yep.
So that is something you can see with a trained eye, but it's good to measure it. It's not always possible to measure everything in grading. It's very hard to produce always a hard number, but for centering it's very easy. So we are always inclined to produce quantifiable information for every card and leave the rest to a minimum. So this is centering for the grades of edges, corners, and surface. There are different methods to be applied. And part of that has to do with lighting conditions. So we have 3 different kinds of lights we use when grading a card. That's warm light, cold light, both white, and then black light.
Okay.
If it's needed.
I think black light is the one I use all the time because it's very consistent. At least it's a first basic check.
Yeah. This is the lamp we use, including magnification.
So this is the dark room where the magic happens.
This is the dark room.
And if an employee has a bad day, they end up here, right?
Yeah. For the whole day, probably.
Okay. Room without windows.
Yeah. Okay. So this is cold light now. Ich muss mal Handschuhe holen.
Yes.
Gloves.
Now they are gone, we're going to just check out all the secrets and the cards. Oh, he's back already. sorry, didn't say anything. The microphone didn't pick up anything.
Alright.
I see those boxes you mentioned. So you got every order in a certain box. Nothing gets mixed up. Yeah, that's very neat system.
Tracked and checked who does it and when it's done. So that's all very well organized, I guess.
No, very good. It makes me confident to drop off a few cards here then in a few minutes.
Right. So for grading cards, we are using gloves always as soon as the card gets undressed, so to speak. We are using gloves in order not to produce additional problems on the surface.
What kind of card do you have there?
This is a Flesh and Blood card.
Yes, but why is there full art on the back? I haven't seen that yet.
It's a Marvel card.
Ah, it's one of those new Marvels. Okay.
Yeah, this is an interesting card for us to grade, and we get many of these because we have 2 kinds of slabs. We have a collector slab, which is the usual grading slab, and we have a player slab. And the player slab is very neatly trimmed to showing one side of the card without any impact.
Yeah, you
in
got
terms
the logo
of the label, and you can also put it on the playmat and play with it.
Yes, I saw
for
that.
Flesh and Blood, you start with a hero and you start
equipment.
with equipment.
Yeah,
so those
perfect.
types of cards are perfect.
Get it? Yep.
Perfectly suited.
You got the label on the back somewhere in the bottom third. I saw that at least before, right? For the player slabs.
Yeah, that is.
Those look pretty cool as well.
Done. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, those things.
So if you send in a card, best send it in a penny sleeve. And also, if you have a card stored, store it in a penny sleeve and in a top loader. Tight sleeves are not recommendable for a reason, because tight sleeves are also produced in an industrial way, and they also deviate from a dimension they should have. And if they are very tight, which sometimes they are, you might be able to enter the card. But if the card starts to work because it sees environmental humidity, it will work. It will expand. And if the sleeve is too tight to let it expand freely, it will form, like this is straight, it will form an S shape like this. And that practically damages the card and heavily influences the surface grading.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so while there are types and production lines of these inner sleeves which are suitable, some are not. And if you have those which are not, you're going to end up with a huge problem.
No, I recognize that as well. I normally double sleeve my cards, and especially the old ones, but I used KMC's inners, and those are fine because they are a little wider. So even with the unlimited stuff and the Power 9, I think that's okay. And then I started to use Dragon Shield inners, and they are too tight, and I stopped doing that. And I never used it on expensive cards anyway, but just double sleeving decks and making them able to be played in like a bar or whatever. So if they're double sleeved, it's cool. But
I guess for most playing cards, it's not really an issue because they are not that expensive. Well, maybe the old Power 9s and Reserve List are, but most modern cards are okay to sit in a sleeve.
No, nice.
But for grading, if we have to make recommendations accessible and understandable, easy, and just don't make it too complicated, right? If we say you can take some inners, others you can't, what always works is a penny sleeve. So use a penny sleeve.
And now for example, I got a couple of sorcery cards I want to have graded this weekend. Hopefully I used a normal Dragon Shield sleeve, an outer. Is that okay as well? Or is that not recommendable? Would you rather?
It's not recommendable because you need to get the card in first. And since it is a thicker material, you yourself are more prone to damaging the card because you have to get it into a tighter fit.
I get it.
Which is more, it's just thicker. And it's easier to damage a card putting it into a regular sleeve than in a penny sleeve.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So I already ruined my grade.
I was very careful. We can follow up on that.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
No, awesome.
So this is the dark room, and there is one thing I wanted to show you is the UV and translucency tests we're doing. Okay. So we're checking under light, and we can check in black light as well. So This is how we are doing it on our scale. And you can also see here, this is a box we use to check with blue light. And there is one fake, a Gaia's Cradle fake, and an original card from the same era. And you already can see that the card backs react differently to the blue light, right?
It's really different. Yes, the fake Cradle is a lot more dark and a lot less reflective.
And now we want to see, there's videos out there showing putting a card on a mobile and using the flash of the mobile, the flashlight, to see what shines through and what doesn't on a card. And we are doing this a bit differently, where we can put the card on a very, very strong light on a light box, and then see more and more reliably what information we can produce regarding translucency.
Very clear result in this case, very clear.
And this is with an open door, so we're in a dark room, but it's not dark right now.
No, exactly.
So we can get better information if the door is closed. But with
I don't want to be in a closed door in the dark room with you, Heiner. I like you, but not that much. Just
I nearly no, and I won't say anything. Okay.
Oh, fantastic.
Right, so this is part of what the grading process needs. It's one condition for light. This is cold light. And basically enabling us to check if there is damage on the corner, damage on the edges. What are we seeing? Are we seeing whitening? Or for Pokemon cards, it's rather silvering because it's a silver layer producing the Pokemon foiling. And there can also, of course, be damages by picking a card up from the table, or also production damage. Yeah. You just open a booster and are very disappointed because there's already a scratch on the card. That can also happen. And that's what we have to check for. And if we have seen it, we can't unsee it. So that is how the grades are produced.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Also, print lines are something which is always occurring. There's games which are better at not producing print lines, and some have more issues. Basically, it's not that much the game, but the production facility where the cards are produced. And some publishers run their own facilities and produce a better quality, and others are more like mass produced or yet a different production route. So yeah, it's a very wide field of results we can see, and that's all just for modern cards. If you have like vintage cards like your Power 9, which I started playing at Revised, and we didn't have sleeves, so we know how cards were treated back in the day.
Yes.
And they just have a different life,
Yes,
or had a different life.
You don't want to see my time walk, my original one, which I have played for more than 10 years on concrete in school.
I can bring that chaos up tomorrow.
That would be nice. I would like. Yes, we did. That would be nice to see. So there you have it. PCG grading in Germany. Very interesting walkthrough, in my opinion. I really loved to have that opportunity. And in the end, I think it was very beneficial for my knowledge about grading. And I am actually inclined to grade a little more at PCG. Like I said, I graded in the beginning. I said it. I don't know if you remember it because the video has been quite long. But in the beginning, I said I have been grading a few PCG cards. I actually have them with me. We can have a look at least at the box. Jürgen Order 1391. There will be a video up with the grades I got. I graded a few sorcery cards because we got a special label during the Eskenrest tournament we helped organize that weekend. Overall, thanks a lot, Heiner, for walking us through the process. I really appreciate it. There were some things we were not able to show, but that's fair. I think we had the opportunity to have a look at a couple of things which were new for maybe the most of us. And I am very thankful for that. I would have liked to have a closer look at some other things as well. Maybe in the future we'll see what we can figure out. Things like the label maker and so on. That was very interesting, but that was pretty much off limits because it has to be very clean in that environment. Overall, I had a great impression of how this works, and I hope you have too. Let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks a lot for watching the video. Stay healthy, stay frosty. Talk to you next time. Bye bye.